Us off. All right. So welcome to Collaborative Learning with Lumio and Canva. I am Noelle Elvier, and I'm an ed tech specialist or a technology program specialist in the ed tech department. I've been here about 2 years, and we are delighted to share with you some collaborative learning options in Lumio and Canva. I also have with me
Lee Arnold. I will be in the chat for you when Noelle is speaking, vice versa. So always here to answer any questions.
All right. So, couple reminders before we get kicked off. While I would love to see your smiling faces, I understand some of you probably don't want to be on camera, but I will encourage you to keep your mics muted. We have a somewhat of a small group, so we might have some time to come off mute, but for now, please keep your questions in the chat, and we'll do our best to keep up with those, either answering them live or in the chat. And we will have opportunities for you to engage with us in some interactive polls, and once Lee goes live with Lumio. So participate, and we hope you learn and take something new away today.
And I did have to remove, we don't have any approved AI reading notes in Google Meet. So unfortunately, I know it's convenient, but we don't have any approved, so I will have to remove those. So I appreciate you being understanding.
Thanks, Lee, for catching that while I was talking. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do both things. So I appreciate it. So we have a QR code here on the screen, and Lee's going to drop a link in the chat. If you want to follow along with us, and we highly encourage that you do, because this is how you will interact with our polls. We have a couple poll questions built into this Canva presentation, and you won't be able to show us your vote unless you have that session open in front of you. So go ahead and click on that link. And this is a public view version of this presentation in Canva.
And there are tons of resources that we want you to take away too. Yes. So if you use the link, you'll be able to walk out of here with stuff ready to adapt to your classroom. So make sure you grab that link.
Point out when, if it's not noticeable on the slide, we're going to point that out when there's something there for you to engage with or click on as a resource. All right. So let's get started. Here's our first little poll. We'll do a welcoming ritual and see where you are on incorporating opportunities for collaboration in your classroom. So how often are you doing collaborative type opportunities in your regular class instruction? Are you doing them some of the time, a little bit? It doesn't mean you're doing them in a platform like this. We're hoping you take one of those ideas away today. But if you go ahead and click, I'm not going to pick mine until I give you a little bit of time to pick yours. And then once I click on one, you'll be able to see what the votes are. So go ahead and click on that and let us know how you rate yourself for incorporating, not in the chat. I mean, I love that you're doing it in the chat too, but if you can click on that presentation, if you have it open, if you click on an option, oops, not there. Oops.
It won't let you do it when you're presenting.
It did, but it just made me change my slide. So I'm picking often. And it looks like the majority of you are also picking often. So you saw how I did that. This isn't not so much of a training on Canva, but once I clicked my choice, then you were able to see how the ranking goes across the board. So for all of you on that presentation and you voted, hopefully you find 2 new tools to incorporate some collaborative opportunities in your classroom. So thanks for voting with us. All right, my pal, my partner here, she's going to take over from here.
Okay, so I am presenting the part on Lumio. If you've never heard of Lumio, I am super excited to get you here. So Lumio is going to transform your content and your instruction. If you've ever heard of Nearpod or Pear Deck, this is something similar, but guess what? What I like to stress that this is not going away. I know as an educator, sometimes we learn new tools and we love them. We fall in love, wholeheartedly use them exceptionally in our classroom instruction. And then all of a sudden we get the notification saying they're going away. That's traumatizing as an educator. And I feel that to my very soul. Do not stress. There is over 10 more years left with Lumio. We got them when the smart panels came in. It was also used as smart learning suite. So again, it's growing. It's amazing. You do not need a smart board with it. This is a tool that's going to take your awesome instructional plans and make them more engaging. Definitely something when you're getting evaluated by your principals, always that whole managing response rates. Lumio is here to assist you with that. So we are going to see, I hope you're excited as I am. We're going to go right into seeing the 3 features that have collaborative parts in Lumio. So we're going to focus on shouted outs, group workspace, and whole class whiteboard. This might sound like a new language to you, but don't you worry. We're going to get hands-on and into it so we know every single one. If this is your first time accessing Lumio, you have a tile in your portal. So you can go in your portal, search Lumio. In the app selector, you might also have, or also known as waffle, because I mean, it looks scrumptious in the morning. You're going to scroll all the way down and you will see a tile for Lumio. So that's 1 or 2 ways to get to Lumio. And what we're going to do is Noelle is going to drop a link in the chat. You can use the QR code on the screen or the link in your chat, and we're going to go live in Lumio. So at this point, you're going to pretend that you're my students and you're going to learn Lumio as they would. So I'm going to shimmy over to Lumio. And if you are using the link in the chat, you should be coming up. And I can already see, as you see here up on my left-hand screen, I have 2 participants. Oh, yay. I see people joining. You make me happy. You make me happy. So how do you get signed in? Well, there is a code. And if it loads, because remember when we present, technology sometimes wants to work. And sometimes it's saying, you know what, you're not wanting to work today. Oh, look at that. Okay, so when you sign in, students can either use the link that you're going to maybe put in your Google Classroom, or they can go to lumioclass.com and enter in your class ID. In this case, Noelle shared with you the link. I can also come over here to my little people and say, okay, I've got 22 signed in. I need more. I have 30 in my class. I can always pop this ID out. And that's exactly what you see on my screen, have students get signed on. Okay, so lumio.class, I enter in my class ID. As you can see, I have 29 students. You guys are my students today, so I appreciate you. But we have 86 on the call, so I'm thinking we can get a couple more. So if you haven't already done so, jump on in. If you do have those stragglers, like some adults, we're a little bit behind, we can always hit this button and show our class ID at the bottom. That way, if someone needs to pop on, they can go to lumioclass.com, enter in my ID, and come right on board. So we're going to get started, and I'm super excited. And Lumio is so excited that it's going to take an extra minute to transition to the next slides this morning, because it also has yet to have its cup of coffee. And I know if I am impatient and I change over, okay, here we go. It is a web-based learning platform that does not take this long to get started. So today is a special case. It was previously known as Smart Learning Suite. When I was teaching, it was called that, and I used it with my math lessons. So again, it takes your boring basic lessons, makes them more engaging, and have some hands-on and exciting experiences. So like I said, the 3, we're going to go in order. We're going to start with the shout it out. We're going to do a group workspace and a whole class whiteboard, and learn how these 3 tools we can incorporate into our instruction. So what is a shout it out? So again, this is a quick formative assessment that gets your students engaged. It can be a, how are you doing this morning? How are you feeling? You can do open-ended questions. You can do true false, like, do you feel this? Do you like this? Immediate feedback is the biggest component. You can show your students names. You can hide them. We as educators know that some kids don't like having their names present, which we love that we can actually hide that. You can add images or text. So if you have students that are ESE students and they prefer not to type and they get misspelled words, have them throw in a picture. And you can adjust the number of entries. So what we're going to do is, I'm a big component on doing it and showing you how it looks. So we're going to do that just now. So as you come in, all right, I'm going to do a shout it out. Are you ready? Lumio, you're secretly killing me right now. So on your screen, you're going to see a question. It says, in your instruction, would you utilize a collaborative whiteboard? Where would you use a collaborative whiteboard? Shout it out. Hi. Well, again, yes, I appreciate the yeses. So say your students, just like this one, maybe didn't read the question, and that's okay. You can always say, oh, this person didn't really answer correctly or did the incorrect thing. I'm going to throw it to the trash can real quick, throw it out. They'll have to redo it. So as it's coming up, when in your instruction would you do it? So when, okay, so if I see some amazing responses, I can make them bigger, because right now you're probably like, Lee, listen, I got great eyesight, but I even have to squint. Don't worry, don't worry. You can click on one and it makes it larger. So now you can showcase to your students what type of responses you were looking for or the type of responses you received. Give them feedback saying, hey, this was great. I can response to a read aloud. I teach media. That's a great one. I'm trying to see. Oh, here we go. I can use it as an exit ticket. What did you learn today? And they just tell you one thing they learned. Hopefully they learn more than one thing, but we're bare minimum here. Phonics, fantastic. And I'm just looking at some of the other ones. Ooh, at the beginning of my lesson. I really think that's good too. Maybe I've recently walked into a VPK room and did a read aloud, and let me tell you, these little babies got a lot to say, a lot outside the content. So maybe it's engaging them in the beginning saying like, hey, what did you do this weekend? Or in the VPK space, what did your mom do? Because they all know exactly what their parents did in the weekend. So thank you for participating in a shout it out. Way to get immediate feedback from all of your students. Zachary, you want to unmute? Go for it.
Hi, good morning. Thank you. Very quickly, with the with the shout it outs for data, is it the only way to see who responded clicking on that little wheel, or when, because for instance, real quick, I use this all the time now. Obviously, like I know I talked to you, but with this, it's just with the shout out. Sometimes I'm trying to find maybe an easier way to pull who's actually responding rather than looking at this. Is there a way to do that or no?
So in this case, I put that I didn't want to see. I didn't want to get their names. So like when it posts, it shows like a shape, like a star. If you did have the names, you could put first and last initial if you wanted, but otherwise the reports will show you the names of what they responded. Great question. Okay. Lumio, I feel you. Come on. We're already halfway through. Come on, Lumio. So Lumio is having a moment today. It does not act like this, but remember what I told you. Technology works when it want to work. And today it's saying it's Friday. It needs a moment. Okay, while we wait for Lumio to wake it up, in the chat, specifically, how could you use shout it out? If you're in a collaborative space and you want your kids engaged, how would you be utilizing it in the chat? And Noelle is going to be looking at those because right now I'm trying to sweet talk Lumio into waking up its pretty little face. Any good ones in the chats? Specifically how? Think about your content.
I just see one, a bell ringer.
Okay, a bell ringer.
Beginning of the lesson as a review or exit ticket, or even in the middle of the lesson to make sure they're paying attention. I love that idea. Catch them off guard and make sure they're on point with you. Using it to determine understanding of vocabulary words. Great ideas.
I'm afraid to hit refresh, Miss Noelle. I'm afraid to hit it. That
I say go for it.
Hit the refresh. Okay, cross your fingers, guys. Cross your fingers. Okay, as that's coming in, and I appreciate you being understanding because, Technology. It's still a blank page. We're going to go with this. Our second component in a collaborative space is a group workspace. So literally it is just that. It is an activity where you can actually get your students formalized into groups. So thinking about if you want them engaged in class and you want that collaborative, hitting those 4 C's, showing that their creativity, they're collaborating, they're communicating, but sometimes it can be a little much. Getting them engaged online and maybe even working with different groups within the classroom, you can motivate them to do this in a group workspace. So it's taking possibly a graphic organizer or an article and allowing them to work together on it. So in my screen, you're going to see a group workspace and I have to set it up. So I can only set it up when I actually have students or participants inside. So I'm going to hit the setup. There's about 47 of us and it'll say like how many teams you would like depending on the size. I'm going to say 8 teams. You can do about 9 teams of 6 at its very most. So if you didn't get in a group, don't you stress, we're going to see it. You can see I'm going to start the workspace. So on your end, you should see that chart and you are going to be filling it in and it's incorporating a group workspace. So give me some examples in math and reading. How could you incorporate group workspace on a Lumio format? Could you have them fill out a worksheet and put it into a group workspace? On reading, what are they doing in a reading text? Are they on a text? Are they creating a scene for an upcoming storybook? So work with your teams to put in some information. And you're probably like, okay, Leah, I love you, but how do you do that? On the left-hand side, you're gonna see 3 little dots. If you pop it out, you will also see, as you can see on my screen, there's a little heart, a plus button. You will have all the options to add to your screen. So on my end, the teacher side, which is super nice, I can actually go in and view your work live. So hopefully I got some examples. All right. Well, I got a line on team 1. Team 1, we got to hustle with heart. We got, team 2, ask question from the board and allow them to answer. Oh, maybe it's a multi-step problem, word problem, and you want them to work through it. I think that's a great example. The nice part about as a teacher is not only live can I see this, but I will also get the report. If I click on this answer, I get a beautiful little carrot, and that carrot tells me Mr. Dorval, I hope I said his name right, he responded to that, which literally team 2, Mr. Dorval is doing all the work now. Come on, hustle up, hustle up. As an educator, I can see now who's really participating in that group workspace, which is always imperative. Ooh, reading. This one says primary, secondary sources, also for a carousel of activities. That's a nice idea. Oh, I use this weekly. Have stations set up around the room, but the group has to respond in the group. Good. Drawing examples of quadrilaterals. I love it. Maybe even manipulating those, classifying them based off their sides, their vertices. You have to make me think about math this early in the morning. And again, I can click on a carrot and see who participated. Miss Griffin, I appreciate you. Okay. Ooh, drawing. Addition using base 10 blocks. These are great examples, guys. And again, I can go in through every single group and see who is participating. So if each group has 6 and I'm only seeing 2 people write something down, clearly I know who's getting participation for the day and who needs a little reminder saying, Johnny, you still haven't responded. I see your teammates are carrying the weight. Let's go. So great for a great group workspace. Understanding steps in a math word problem, which I think is huge. And you can see here, everyone is working on that in a group. So if you're in team 5, you cannot go to team 1's workspace. So it's a really great opportunity to get your kids collaborating. And again, you can rearrange it. So if I know that Kelly is terrible with Miss Brazzi, I can move her before I set her into a team. Like, you guys can't work together. So that is a great opportunity for them to collaborate. All right, we're moving on. Hopefully Lumio decides to get with the program. It's not, but that's okay. Remember, you got to be flexible and work on the fly. So the next one, my slide deck doesn't want to work for most part, but the others do. It's okay. So the last one in Lumio that works wonderfully is a whole class whiteboard. Literally, the words of the title pretty much tell it all. Your whole class can participate on one document. With this, when I have 47, it gets a little crazy But in a group of like 20, it's really an awesome activity to just engage them. So in this case, I want you to think about a shout it out, a group workspace, and a whole class whiteboard. And I want you to think in your class and your students that you have, because we all know it depends on the type of learners that we have and the kids that we have. Do you think that this would be something that you would utilize right away, a group workspace? Or do you think you would probably use a shout it out first if you were going to test out Lumio? So what you are going to do on the next slide in the activity, which is a whole class whiteboard, you are going to grab a sticker and put it on which column you think you would like to try, or which tool you would like to try first. This is not a whole class whiteboard until you use a magic wand in the top right hand corner to make it live, which will show hopefully on the next one. So it should be loading on your screen. You know. Noel, do you see it on your screen live? Lumio, you're killing me today. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Yep.
Oh. All right, I see some stickers. Woo. Which one do you think you're going to utilize within Lumio first? And for you, Lumio will be working the whole way. It's just me this morning. It's just not. All right. I like to shout it out. Group workspace. Okay. Couple on the whole class whiteboard. And like I said, because there are so many on the whole class whiteboard, it gets a little crazy, especially if you're having more than just images. If you had words, and it gets a little crazy. And as you can see, they all populate in the middle. So you have to actually grab your image and move it to where you want. But in a smaller class setting, this is an ideal tool if you really, again, want immediate feedback. You want to see how they're feeling. Maybe you come into the classroom and before you even do your lesson, you're like, hey guys, what's the weather like in your own brain? Are you really happy? You're excited for the day? Or you're just not feeling so hot? They're able to take these icons and move them how they're feeling. And now that's an SSL kind of activity. And you can really read your students on, are they really going to get the lesson today based on their emotional feelings? Okay, I think it's pretty even. It's pretty even. Eloise, if you have an easy question, if you can put it in the chat. Otherwise, feel free. Our SSL, SLL, SEL. Oh man, they keep changing the dang letters. I can't keep up. Eloise, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm trying to find the chat on my thing.
It's okay. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to know where to find those stickers.
Oh, so the 3 dots on the left-hand side, you should see a little like 4 icons where it's like a heart, a picture.
Yes.
It's going to be in there that you can actually get the image. Great question.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
No worries. Lumio. We're going to have a chat later today, Lumio. And you don't see it. Nobody thumbs up if you see it on your screen, right? It's just. Oh, you do see it or no? Thumbs down. No. Okay. Well, you know, Lumio and I were going to have a talk afterwards. So what I have, let's see if I can get it. Okay, before I go to this one, I am going to share what I had on the slide that looks really pretty too, guys. That's the hurtful part. Some fun facts about Lumio is they do have what's called AI Assist. And in that AI Assist, you can literally pull up standard base and say, I need you to create me a 5 questions on the water cycle. And I can pull in the NGS standards right inside of there for the AI Assist. They do have a new tool as well that's called AI Lesson. And I can type in specifically my standard. I can literally pull the words and say, analyze positive and negative numbers for integers. If you're teaching that 5th grade advanced class, and it'll create a whole lesson, including these engaging parts for your students, which is great. I also, if you happen to like my slide deck, that is not a template you see in Lumio, and that's because they have a great Canva integration. So in Canva on my apps, I can literally say, throw this over to Lumio. And so once my slides are all good to go in Canva, I throw it over to Lumio and I add in the engaging pieces. So this quick poll and response activity is all done by AI. I did not create this question. So what I'm going to have you do is on your screen, if you can answer the 3 questions, hitting the arrows to then submit when you're done, I get a live view and saying who's answered it. So I've got 3% of the questions answered. The questions are going to be, again, which classroom activity would you most likely keep your students focused during a science lesson? And then I didn't even make this. I just did AI. How easy is it to incorporate those? The second question, how do you prefer to check students' understanding of your instruction? So if you are someone who does thumbs up, thumbs down, you're really managing those response rates, which is great. But again, if I'm answering someone's individual reflection, well, then I'm only getting one answer when I have a whole classroom. So using Lumio as a collaborative feature, like Shout It Out, could hit more students' responses. And then 3, what is the value of adding collaborative opportunities into your instruction? And so we're about 60%, and I get a live feed. Let's get to 75. So technically you should be answering them on your screen, if you're in your phone. And in about a couple seconds, I'm going to end it just so I can show you what it looks like on the teacher end. So if you didn't get to the end of the questions, do not stress. Clearly, I'm not going to grade yours. So you can see here when I do finalize it, this is something you can show to your students because I don't have students' names on it. You can see, okay, the results, people are choosing doing hands-on experiments for science is more valuable. Checking understanding, peer teaching activity, okay. And written exit ticket is ways. So I get immediate feedback, as you can see a bar graph on the right. If you look at the very bottom, I can actually export the results. So I can see every student's name and their response, what they've decided to utilize. Yes, in a spreadsheet. Of course, you decide to work now, Lumio, at the very end. Okay, if you've never done Lumio, starting a session is super easy. How I had you sign in with the link, it's how you're gonna have it for your students. If you're in Lumio and you are hovering over your lesson, it's either start new or edit file if you wanna edit it. And you can always show your class students for the people in it by clicking. If you have questions, we're going to put it in the chat. Otherwise, I am never going to have time to get through Noelle's part, and she's going to smack me through this computer screen. So I apologize. This is not necessarily a tutorial on Lumio. However, I want to share with you that within our EdTech, we have our EdTech training page. We do have Lumio resources, which there are practice pages. There are guides to assist you. Noelle and I are pretty famous these days for Lumio, and we are happy to come out and show our famous grad student of Lumio when it actually works. Whether it's at a PLC or a faculty meeting, we are here to support you. We literally had a teacher email us this week about how she's presenting Lumio to her staff, and we just guided her through a Google Meet. So if there is more that you'd like to learn how to utilize this more, please don't hesitate to reach out to Noelle and I. We are happy to have that collaborative working experience. And that is all from my part. And I am going to let Miss Noelle take it away.
Hello?
All right. Oh, well, I guess it would have been nice if I was on the actual slide I should be on. So let me just shimmy on through here. Canva. So I'm going to talk to you about Canva. I was trying to answer the question about the people who are asking for Infinite Cloner, Lee, because you've sparked so many amazing ideas that they want to know more.
And I wish they could have seen half the slide deck, but you know, Lumio decided today was not the day.
I just threw in the chat, I might have opened up, just something today. 11 o'clock, I can put time on my calendar at 11 o'clock today. If you are interested in knowing a little bit more about the how-tos with Lumio and making Infinite Cloner, Lee's going to be doing a session, but shoot me an email and I'll set up a quick Google Meet and we'll dive in a little bit more there. Just be on the fly. Okay, so we're on to Canva. So Canva, in case you didn't know, is this amazing resource of graphic design opportunities. You can make just so many things. This presentation, for one, is in Canva. Flyers, posters, cards, invitations, you name it, it can do it. Canva is your go-to resource. So let me ask you, how often are you using Canva with your students? Maybe you're not using, maybe you had no idea it was even possible to use Canva with your students. Maybe you're still trying to grasp Canva for yourself and you haven't gotten to the student part. So today we're going to dive into a little bit of Canva with your students. So click on that slide, show us your vote. Remember, you have to be in the presentation in order to vote. And I'm going to see if my slide goes glitchy. When I try to vote, I'm going to pick often, and then I'm going to have to click back, try it again. I tried it again. It's not working this time. It's not working this time. Oh, there it goes. Third time was a charm. All right. Wow, so sometimes and rarely. Well, for those of you who are still learning, I hope you take something away today to try out with your students. Didn't know it was possible. Love that too. So today you're going to learn that it is possible to use Canva with your students. So thank you for voting. Hopefully you know that you can find Canva in our portal. So if you search Canva, you'll find it there. You can click the little star and make it a favorite. Search in the search box if you don't see it pop up on your portal tiles when you first log in. And then make sure that you go to it frequently. All right, I'm going to pop over here live for a second. Yes, Zachary.
I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Where's the link to this lesson right here that you were on? I was in, sorry.
Yep, Lee just pinned it. So if you scroll up just a smidge in the chat, you should be able to see it. Oh, she just put it again. Oh, thanks so much. All right, so I'm going to pop over here because I'm basically going to show you what that slide is showing you, the things that we're going to check out today. So when you go into Canva, you're going to land here on a page that looks like this. And what you're going to see here are all of your creations and kind of a crazy mess of things. But have no fear, because you can come over to this projects tab here on the left side, and you can create folders. So if I click a star here, I can make a new folder and I can start adding files for the folder, for the items that I create, and dropping them into those folders and make myself a little bit more organized. But just know that all of your recent activity is going to show on that kind of dashboard, so to speak. Today, we're not really going to do the beginning user features of Canva. We're really showing how you can use Canva with your students. So for those of you that are a little rusty on Canva, I apologize. This is not necessarily a how to use Canva session, but I will show a few of the features as we go through. So we're going to hide out in the Education tab. When you click on your Canva tile, you should see this Education tab. And we're going to be checking out some of these options that are up here at the top. So we're going to talk about, let's see there. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. We're going to check out some of these options there, and I'm not seeing them there, but we're going to look at the worksheet. We're going to look at the whiteboard. We're going to look at a couple different options that I'm going to take a peek at. So this is really, if you want to do a flyer for, let's see, a carnival, not there, not in there. Why is it that it doesn't want to do?
Type in flyer. It'll get the size at least. I know spelling on the fly is very
tough, because it's not looking for ideas. Because I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. I'm in my projects, my ideas. I'm not kind of searching for templates. So here's where I'm going to minimize the ideas that I'm looking for. I'm looking for a birthday flyer, an advertising, so on and so forth. We are going to be hiding out in these whiteboards, group work, worksheets, and activities. So those are what we're going to be taking a peek at today. And I will remind you when there is a live link for you to click on that will save right to your Canva for you to refer back to later on. So when I designed these slides with these samples, I did include elementary and secondary examples. So I'm really only going to peek at the elementary because this is primarily an elementary PDD day. But if any of you are joining us from the secondary level, there are some examples here for secondary students as well. So this particular one is a whiteboard, and whiteboards, very similar to what Lee shared with us in Lumio, is just that. It's this infinite space that students can work in. So this right here, this icon, is this image, rather, is a direct link to this in Canva. This is what it looks like in Canva. I could search for a whiteboard on the food chain, food cycle, something of that nature. And this is what I'm going to come up with. When you click on that image, you're going to get your own version. And the fun part of that, I'm going to peek over here back in my home and refresh my page. You see it here in my recents. So whatever you click on in this presentation that I've shared with you is going to be hiding out, automatically saved in your dashboard in Canva. So that's a great thing to know. You don't have to click save. You don't have to do any of that. All right. So back over here, and you know what? I'm going to share, hold on one second. I'm going to switch this to a window so I don't have to keep flipping my tabs. Okay, so in this particular one, you notice that I can zoom in closer and I can zoom out, but all of that white space is space for students to be working. That could be 2 students, it could be your whole class, it could get a little bit crazy when there's a lot of people on it. So you use your judgment of how many students you want to have involved in this. But the great piece about it is there's so much that's already here. But if you don't like something, you can zoom into it and you can start changing. So once I click on any of this text, I can tweak the wording to be how I want it to be. So maybe I want it to just be, maybe my standard is only 5 organisms. So I'm going to edit it and I'm going to make it match my standard the way that I need it to be. Maybe we're only going to work in pairs. And so I'm going to change that so that it's exactly how I want the directions to be. If you have some images that you want to add, you're going to go over here into your elements and you can add images from this menu. That's more of a teaching you how to use Canva kind of a session, which is not really what we're focused on. But your elements tabs has all kinds of goodies hiding out over here for you to add to this already pre-designed template. You don't even have to use all of this. So maybe you don't want this part. So I'm just going to kind of highlight and drag, and I can delete that section because I'm not going to need that part for my students to work on. So this is just one example of a like an infinite space, just like we saw in Lumio. If you remember Jamboard, this is kind of our new alternative to Jamboard, is using Canva as a giant whiteboard. So that's just one quick example of a whiteboard in Canva. And the next slide, as I said, is just an example for secondary. So this was a math example, solving real world problems with probabilities and things like that. So saw 2 different examples there. And again, even if you're elementary, maybe this could be tweaked a little bit for your standards that match maybe in 4th or excuse me, 4th or 5th grade. So
parts
feel free
to
click.
whole, some fractions going on in there.
You want to do some sorting even for the younger kids. You could throw in all kinds of icons in that jar and have them sort them out. I mean, the options are really endless to make it work for you. And the other thing I didn't show you is when you are in Canva, you can do, let's say I want a whiteboard and I want to start filtering for a particular topic or content area. You can do all of that filtering too. So that is there for you as well. All right. So let's move on to the next one.
Noelle, can you freeze 1 second?
Sure.
Noelle does a fantastic job of showing you all of these. And if you have the link of our presentation, you can click on these and it'll make a template for you. So you have all of these as resources that you can say, maybe those two didn't work for you, but you see some, get right to your Canva and now you have it.
Yep. So again, this one here, another elementary example. This one's for group work. So maybe you want to do just partners, or you have students working in groups of 4 and they're going to talk about or learn about or be reporting on rock types and rock features. This particular image is going to take you to this template. Apparently it is my template. So I'm sharing the template with you and I'm going to share with you how to do that. So I'm just going to view the template. I don't want to edit it because it's mine. So I don't want to edit it because it's going to change it on your end. But I did find this template inside of Canva and I tweaked it to match more of the standard that I had linked there on the slide. So you can go ahead and make your own directions. And then you can share, and I'm going to talk a little bit about sharing in an upcoming slide, but you can share it. My suggestion, this is just my suggestion. If this is a small group assignment, my suggestion would be you share it with the team leader for each of those groups. And once you share it with the team leader for each of those groups, then that person shares it with the others in their group. Rather than giving everyone in the group access to it, that's a lot for you. You make the lead have a responsibility and a role in sharing it with the students that will be working in their group. This particular one has a space for the students to add their names. Maybe they're working on each student is going to have their own slide and they're going to be designing something together. It's a group project, but everybody has one slide that they're doing. You can simply duplicate the page and make a second one. Just right up here, this little kind of duplication, you can just duplicate the page. Here's some resources, maybe some of the key vocabulary that you're learning about. Maybe you want some other images to be on here. Again, going over to the Elements tab, and you can add on, maybe I needed a rock picture that looked like this one instead, and I'm going to give them that one to work with. So whatever you want to do, you customize this to your liking before you get it ready for your students to share out with them. And yes, I see somebody. There are, Wendy, tons of resources in Canva that are already in Spanish, and you can easily translate items in Spanish into any language, really, right inside of Canva. So if I do edit on this particular slide, hold on. If I do, hold on, I gotta remember myself. Remember, because you caught me off guard there.
Yeah, click on it again in the image.
This one. No, I gotta do it here. Yep. So I highlighted all of it, which I didn't need to highlight the pictures. I really only need to highlight the, I'm gonna just do the words. I'm just gonna show you this really quickly. So I highlighted all the words because that's the part that you wanna have translated, correct? I'm gonna click these 3 dots, move in my mouse so you can see the 3 dots. You threw me off there, it caught me off guard, and now I had to remember how I needed to do this. It opens up my menu here. Pop down here, you see the magical translate text. I'm gonna click on it. You said Spanish, so I'm going with it. Spanish pops up. Now it's asking me here, do I want it to be the original language or am I customizing it? Well, I don't want to customize it. I want it to be an exact translation. So I'm keeping it original. It's asking me, it's asking me, do you want this done too? Because I didn't have that selected. So now I want it selected. And now I click translate. It's going to duplicate this page. Going back up here, that's my original in English. And now I have my Spanish version. Now you just got a little bonus because that was not part of this session, but hopefully that's a nice little nugget for you. All right, I'm running out of time and I want to make sure I cover it all, but this is your 9th through 12th grade standard that is using another example of group work for Canva. Here's worksheets and activities. Remember, both of the images will take you to a template for your using, your customization, make it yours, take out what you don't want, use what you do want. But this is just a simple worksheet. So forget about paper pencil, do it right in Canva. You can assign this right through Google Classroom. And it's going to ask me for my classroom and all of that stuff. But you can assign this to students right through Google Classroom. They'll all get their own version and they'll submit it that way. They'll do the work that way rather than paper pencil. Just a little different way of, assessing their understanding rather than taking home a bunch of papers. You go home, you just have Canva, you can check them out there. That's one more example, just a digital worksheet. Here's a secondary example. And then we have graphic organizers. So graphic organizers, you could do them individually. You could have groups of students work on graphic organizers, but this is a great way, again, get rid of the paper, just give students, sometimes when you give students a different way of doing something, they're all over it. If I keep giving you paper pencil activities, it gets kind of boring, but you throw that same activity in a digital type of application, they're a little bit more inclined and excited about it. So this particular example, 4th grade, again, I customized this one to make it match more of the standard, and that's why it's telling you that it's from me. So I'm just going to view it because I don't want to change what I've shared, but this is the example that I customized. And again, every single one that you go on, click on in that presentation that I've shared with you, you see them. They've all automatically saved here. Every one that I've clicked on, they've automatically saved in my Canva. So I don't have to do anything. It's just there for me to go back and see and work on and revise. So that this particular one, for author's purpose, author's claim, citing evidence, all of that stuff right here in this graphic organizer rather than on a piece of paper. So that's great too. The other great thing about this is I could actually upload the PDF of whatever piece of text it is that the students were reading. And I could have that text above this on the page above, and then they could kind of scroll back and forth to the text and identify those things if it were just, a 1-page, 2-page piece of text that the students were working from. So that's just another idea. And that's basically very simple. You're going back to your home and you can upload a document. So right here on upload, you could upload a PDF, you can upload a PowerPoint, you can upload all kinds of files that you have, and then they'll be completely customizable. So always a good resource to have. Any questions? I'm not really looking at the chat so much, Lee, so you got them. She's the rapid fire typist. And then another one, kind of similar, that the one that I use for elementary, but supporting claims with evidence and reasons and all that stuff. This is a 7th grade standard. So, all right, so I told you that I would share How to share. So you probably noticed it on one of them. When I go up to share, I can type in a name. In this particular one, I'm going to put my colleague Lee, and her name's going to pop up here, and you'll see that she can edit it. But I could just give her view access, or I could just give her comment access. Maybe I want her to take a look at it and tell me if there's anything wrong, and she can give me some comments on it, just like in a Google Doc. So if I give her edit access, remember, if this was a team or a small group activity and Lee is my captain of that group, I would give Lee access, and then Lee could give it to the respective students that are in her group with her. So then once I share it, then Lee has a copy to edit this and do whatever, you know, her role is in the group. The other thing is, you might be wondering, how do I make those templates? So here's a great idea. For those of you that are planning, you have planning with your content area, you're planning with your grade level, you're in a PLC, you're talking about a specific standard you're working on, and you come up with this fabulous idea to share with students that you've done in Canva. Let's say it's this one, for example. So I did the work, I shared it in the group in the session where we were discussing it, and you're all like, wow, this is great. I want to use it with my students too. So you don't have to use my version. I can share a template with you, and then you can customize it if you have that, you know, idea to make any changes, then you can customize it for your liking. So I simply go up to the share in the top right again, and I'm going to go see all. And now I want to go, where is it hiding? Template link. So when I make a template link, create a template link, and I copy this link, I'm going to put this link in the chat so you will see. So now I just made a template link that I can share with all of you to use in your class, even though you already have this particular example, but I can share it with all of you. So that's a quick little share that I didn't plan to include, but it's an extra nugget for you. And then I did show you the Google Classroom. You just click on share and you find the Google Classroom logo, and it'll ask you to, you know, pick the class that you want to share to. So those are some sharing directions there. All right. So I don't know about you, but Lee, do we want to see what their thoughts are?
Yes, please.
All right. So this is going to be an example of a whiteboard just for you. Now, right now, this is in view only. So you're all jumping in this whiteboard. It is view only. You can only see what's here. You can't do anything to it. But in a moment, I'm going to change it to edit. Now, there's 87 of us on this session. I hope none of you have 87 students in any one class at any time. So just keep that in mind. There's going to be a lot of little people roaming around on this particular file, this whiteboard. But in a second, I'm going to make it go edit view or edit access, and you will be able to come over here and click on these tools and access a sticky note or add text or any of those things and share with us what you plan to use. You want to share with us something you learned, share with something that you're going to try out, or tell us something that you're still confused about. Are you ready? Here we go.
And she's going to change that, and I'm going to put the new timer on a Google Meet. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh,
update,
yes.
but just rocking and rolling
timer
that.
Down here. We can show a timer in Canva.
So everyone should be able to refresh and
refresh
grab
your
a sticky
tab,
note.
and then come on over to the menu. You can click a sticky note here. Pick a color that you want. Now remember, when it pops up, you can drag it to wherever you want. And if I make my space zoomed out, it's not going to mess it up for you. It only messes it up for me. And then I can bring my sticky note into a corner and type something that I want in a space that's not as cluttered with everyone else. So once your sticky note pops on, feel free to drag it over somewhere and make it say whatever you want it to say. And we don't expect you to try all of these things tomorrow, but hopefully you have at least one takeaway from what Lee shared in Lumio and what I've been sharing in Canva, and you'll be able to try something out. Start small. Don't stress yourself out. Start with something small and give yourself time, to get used to it. And then if you happen to peek in and see anyone's like, oh, look at what Erica said. She likes being able to share out. I like that idea. I'm going to give her a little heart. Let's see. Canva has interactive features, something that she learned today. So I love Canva's interactive features. I'm going to give her a clapping hands. And look, Ellen, I know Ellen.
How to use the sticky note
together. How to use a sticky note. She learned something new. I know. If you've not been playing around with Canva, these are all things that you probably are learning today. Yes, keep learning and start small. Keep learning more about the things, all the things. Because when you try to take on too many things, and you don't have to stay in my little square here. So Sherry, I'm going to move yours for a second. You can come out into this white space. You don't have to be inside my little
That's why what happens,
bubble.
we tend to just get more sticky notes because we get lost in the abyss because there are so many in your classroom. It won't be like this, but yeah, it happens.
All right. And so just like that, now you can't do anymore. And that's how quick it is. It's like, students, okay, I need you to focus. We're not following the directions. You stop them from being able to edit. They can't do anything, so they got to look at you. You can do the same thing with Lumio. You can let them edit. You can not let them edit. So nice to have that control. All right. So that was our timer. And we're going to wrap it up here. If you were looking to get points on this session, there is an implementation at the end. I'm going to have Lee throw the course in one more time in the chat because I'll tell you, some of you might have saved this to your calendar a few weeks back, and then we made a course in ELM. So if you didn't register for the course and you just had the link on your calendar, please register for the course. You don't have to do the implementation. We just want a record of everyone who joined the session. So we thank you for that. And then this is what we have coming up. We have Google Gemini, which is actually happening in T-minus 2 minutes. That's Google Gemini and Google Classroom integrations. And then Typing Club also in 2 minutes. Go Guardian at 11 and Google Vids at 1 o'clock. That will be the Lee and Noelle show again, but really just the Lee show. Just Noelle's going to be in the chat. And if you don't know, we have a technology conference. It's coming up in February on the 18th. We would love for you to present. So if you have something exciting in technology and you want to share it, please apply to present. We'd love to have you there. This is our team, our lovely team in the Ed Tech department, and we are delighted that you came to see us today. We hope you got something exciting and new out of this session. If you haven't already joined our mailing list, Lee threw that in the chat for you. We promise we don't spam you, but we do love to share information that might not trickle down to you as quickly. So join our mailing list and we send out all kinds of updates about upcoming PD. And then we have an amazing training site that has tons of resources all over for you. This is where the recording for this session will be hiding out. And that's it. If you have any questions, we'll stick around for a few minutes. And if anyone sent an email, whatever, and you want to jump on a session and look a little bit more, at Lumio, I'm happy to set that up at, what did I say, 11?